Well, good morning. This is Joshua Malana, CEO of Pest, and today we will be discussing IPM, pest biology, and termites in Philippines. So before we start, this is a reminder that this video of our training is strictly for Pest use only and unauthorized sharing or sending of a copy to other people without our permission is strictly prohibited and may be subject for legal case if for unauthorized use. So let me share my screen uh, to start with the training. Okay. So topic of our training is integrated pest management and pest biology. So for part one, we will be discussing this topic, IPM and pest biology. And for part two, we will be discussing termites. So the importance of pest control, mainly it is to maintain the desired food safety standards. So all of our clients, especially manufacturing plants, restaurants, hotels, they are implementing a global safety standard for food. So we should be in line and parallel or more or better in terms of implementing those standards. And pest control is important because those pests may induce threat to health of food handlers. So, for example, one chef is handling food in one restaurant and he or she has an allergy with cockroaches. So if there are presence of cockroaches inside the restaurant, it will trigger the allergy. So it might result to a more grave uh, health concern. Another one is to reduce threat of product loss. So if there are numerous sightings of rodents, for example, in a manufacturing plant, and then if you don't have any pest control at place or in place, definitely rodents will thrive and those products will be uh, put into waste because of those rat bites. So imagine if one box or multiple boxes has a rodent bite on it, definitely all items inside the box will be thrown into trash. Next is to enhance customer satisfaction. So of course, if one customer or client in a hotel, they didn't see any cockroach inside their rooms, so definitely it would make them stay again in that hotel. But if it's the other way around, and definitely worst case they would report it or make it viral in social media and will affect the reputation of the hotel or the client. So speaking of reputation, the importance of pest control is to keep the good brand reputation of our clients. So if one pest is seen inside or on top of their food, it would really have a negative effect on the reputation of our clients. So next, what are pests? So ano ba yung mga peste? It is defined as any animal or plant which has a harmful effect on humans, their food, or their living conditions. So they are asking, are cats pests or pets? So it depends on the human being present. So for example, in one of our client, those cats were pets before, but once they scratched or have beaten one staff or student in that client, it they already consider those cats as pests. Okay, so pests carry disease-causing microorganisms and parasites. Another, they also attack and eat vegetable and cereal crops. They also contaminate food, damage buildings or structure, and they also cause loss of reputation and public trust or even closure of business. So pests, it is characterized by its behavior to be opportunistic. So when there is no one around, that's the time they attack and get their food. Another is they are discreet. We wouldn't know that there are pests within our environment or within our facility. Third is they are very, or they reproduce very quick. So for example, with termites, in a day on an average, they could lay as much as 30,000 eggs per day. And lastly, they are adaptable. So even in extreme conditions like extremely hot or extremely cold, there are still pests thriving in that environment. So what are the common urban pests that we encounter? So we also provide some recommendations for our clients. First, we tackle ants, mga langgam. So they are social insects. They are also divided into workers, queens, and males. So the worker, they enlarge and repair the nest. They also get their food. They care for the young and the queen, and also they serve as the defenders of the colony. For the queen, they lay eggs, and the males only serve to mate with the queens. So they also pass through 4 stages of development: the egg, larva, pupa, and adult. For the damage, as you can see in the photo, many species of ants are particularly prone to infesting food. So however, ants walk over many different kinds of surfaces and sometimes feed on dead animals and insects. So in this photo, we can see that they feed on dead cockroach. So the disease that is within that cockroach can be transferred to human food if that colony will also um, go and eat our food after they eat the cockroach. So the best way to locate, to detect and monitor those ants is number one, visual inspection. So you really have to check the site where it passes through, and mostly it's indoor, inside kitchens and food preparation areas. So what we do in Pest Pro is we trace the ants and check where they are coming from and locate the crack where they enter. So that's the most important thing, is you locate the source, and then that's the area where we will focus. So if we need to spray, we do spraying there. If we can just seal it out using caulking gun, it's better to just seal it. So an infestation may also indicate that there has been a change in the methods of storing food. So maybe there's an open can of meat or can of sugar left in on the table. So ants might be seen if it's left on the table. So ants can also be attracted to snacks if it's kept in rooms and sweet drinks accidentally spilled on the floor. So as I mentioned a while ago, you should modify to reduce yung entryways by caulking. So we can use a silicone or silicone gun or the caulking gun to cover the gap, and also repair any water leaks and replace moist or rotting wood as needed. So usually mga cabinets. So we can recommend this to our clients if we saw it on site. And one big thing to recommend is if you observe that clients have or they need some regular cleaning, advise them to have one. And then if items are not stored properly, it must be stored inside the airtight jars. Next would be cockroaches. So the cockroach, they are what we call thigmotactic. So they like to squeeze into warm cracks and crevices and be touched on all sides of the body at once. So that's why they prefer gaps or very minimal space. So all sides of their body would be touched. And different cockroach species, it also differs in their habitat. So for German cockroach, they prefer kitchens and lavatory areas. While for the American cockroaches, they are generally found where there is high moisture. So usually in sewers and basements, drainages. So that's where American cockroach usually inhabit. And then they eat carbohydrates, protein, and fat. However, if they are hungry, they will eat almost anything. Next is they are generally active at night, so they are nocturnal and remain hidden during daylight. But if we observe sightings during the day, it only signifies that it has a lot of pest population or cockroach population in that area. So first species of the cockroach usually seen here in the Philippines is the American cockroach, or the scientific name Periplaneta americana. So for the technical terms, we should be mindful that the word ootica or ootica, it is the egg case. It is usually the color brown that we see inside cabinets. And then inside it are the eggs. So it's not just one egg and there's only one cockroach there. So there are numerous eggs inside each ootica. So the instars also are the different stages of development. So that's why you see one species of cockroach, but they exhibit a different um, identification, or the the itsura itself is not the same. So because of its instars. And the offspring, of course, it's an animal's young. So going back, one female, it can produce 6 to 14 OOTK in her lifespan. And one ootica can have at least 14 to 16 eggs. So every time you see an egg case, it is believed that or we can say that there are 14 to 16 cockroaches that would be produced from that. And then the incubation period, meaning from eggs before it hatches, the average is 44 days. and the average number of offspring per cockroach is 224. So sa lifespan ni American cockroach, on an average, it can produce around 224 offsprings. The number of developments also is around 10 to 13, and the average egg to adult period is 600 days. In how many years could one cockroach live? So a female cockroach could live from 90 to 706 days, or we can say around 2 years. And one male American cockroach could last until a year. So from 90 to 362 days. For the German cockroach, this is the ones usually seen in kitchens, condominiums. Scientific name is Blatella germanica. So only 4 to 5 OOTK per female, but one OOTK has at least 30 to 40 eggs. So it's almost triple than compared with American cockroach. And the incubation period is 28 days on an average. So it's also quicker compared with American cockroach. Offspring also, almost the same with American cockroach, around 200. And the stages of development is just 6 to 7. So from egg to adult, it's around 103 days to reach it. And an adult lifespan, German cockroach, is less than 200 days. So American cockroach has a higher lifespan compared with the German cockroach. So just to differentiate, German cockroach, the male, it is thin, slender body shapes, tapered posterior abdomen. So there are also terminal segments in the abdomen that's visible, and not covered by tegmina, or the leathery outer wings. So for the female, usually it has a stout body shape. So we can say that this is bigger compared with the male. Rounded posterior abdomen, and the entire abdomen is covered by tegmina. So tegmina is, we can safe to say, or in layman's term, is the outer wings. So what are the damages that can be caused by cockroaches? So they can carry and transmit many common pathogens that can cause human and animal disease. And the most important health issue associated with cockroaches is the production of allergens that can cause severe bronchial problems in sensitive individuals. So where do we see, or where do we check cockroaches as a pest pro technician? So number one, you have to note any sanitation problems if there are food or grease spills or build up under or beneath or behind kitchen equipments, or you can see improper garbage disposal procedures, so there are cockroaches there. If there are leaks or condensation, so if there are pipes or aircon vents that has condensation, since it's a source of water, there can also be cockroaches thriving there. So look for cockroach entry points, such as holes in walls or floors, around pipes, where they may enter a wall, around electrical conduits, or in vents. So they can pass through sink or any pipelines or vents inside rooms. So you, in this photo, it is a basic representation of a typical household kitchen. So where do we focus on this area? So upon checking or upon seeing this photo, we can see that you have to check the back of the appliances, the side of the cabinets, beneath the kitchen sink, the gap between two appliances, and mostly all the gaps that are less than 3 millimeters. It can be a source of or a habitat of cockroaches. Also, for a typical bathroom, you have to check the back of the mirror, the back of cabinets or inside cabinets or beneath the sink, the back of the toilet bowl, the valves that might serve as their breeding grounds, and also the baseboards and the door jamb. So sometimes it has gaps that we might have to check. So when do we inspect? When is the best time to inspect for cockroaches? So we can inspect during daylight hours as long as it's better if lights off. And for areas that we can cater during the night, the best time to um, inspect is during midnight. So what do we do, or what are some recommendations for cockroach infestation? So if it's heavy infested, so flushing or flush out treatment is our recommendation. So it is a method of locating cockroaches in harborages that are difficult to see or reach. So sometimes uh, spraying alone is not enough to control or to eliminate or to lessen the population of cockroaches. Flush out treatment is far better in terms of the scope that we can use to make our clients happy. So with the use of heat gun and vacuum or blower, we can locate, we can make the cockroaches go out of their habitat or harborage and be sucked by our vacuum. So it's the perfect method to lessen those population. So scattered cockroaches will soon return to the harborage where they can be monitored and treated. So we can see where they are hiding soon. So in terms of habitat modification, what do we recommend? Since pests, specifically cockroaches, they need food, water, and harborage to survive. But with cockroaches, harborage is the primary limiting factor. So basically, between those three, if they have nothing um, to harbor in or be to have a habitat or to have a shelter, it will be difficult for cockroaches to increase their population. So we have to recommend that our clients repair their leaking pipes and faucets because aside from the water from it will serve as resource for cockroaches. The cabinet mostly once it's been filled with water, um, it will expand and definitely it will create a gap that will serve as harborage for cockroaches. Also, if there are cracks and crevices, they have to caulk or seal the gap using grout, cement, or sealant. We also have to recommend to ventilate humid places. And if there are clutters or in Tagalog, tambak, we recommend to have it removed. According to a study, during COVID-19, since there are not much pest control treatments done during that time, one German cockroach that is pregnant last January. So imagine if there are no pest control treatments done until June, it could reach as high as 18,400 in terms of numbers. So in a year, one female cockroach that is pregnant in January, it could produce or it could reach around 100,000 German cockroaches in 1 year. So imagine if one client is having a treatment once a year only, quarterly. So definitely um, the presence of cockroaches will be continuous. For flies, or in Tagalog, langaw, it is a worldwide pest and major carrier of disease. It also passes through four distinct life stages: the egg, the larva, the pupa, and adult. They also look for moist places with the right smell to lay eggs. And a fly uses its proboscis to drink liquids. So in order to eat solid food, they vomit their digestive enzymes over the food. So here, um, this one, if you would see my cursor, the one that is like a straw in the mouth of the fly, that is the proboscis. So there is a um, sponging mouth type that if the food is solid, they will just have to vomit their digestive enzyme and slurp in solid food that was converted to liquid because of that digestive enzyme. So these are sample of the eggs. So it hatches in 8 hours to 3 days. So sometimes if we will buy meat in fresh market or wet market in the afternoon or in the evening, we can see these eggs already since if it's exposed fully from morning until afternoon, definitely we will already see eggs from flies. And then sometimes we can also see larvae or maggots. They're like worms. And then once they are ready for the pupal stage, they will bury itself. So maghuhukay sila 70 to 60 cm, usually in soil, to pupate. And then they will stay there from 3 to 28 days, depending on temperature. So for adults, they normally live less than 1 month, 15 to 25 days. But sometimes can go up maximum 2 months. And for them to expand their population, they need to have food. And then OV position starts 4 to 20 days after copulation. And then female flies need access to suitable food to allow them to produce eggs. So that's the requirement for them to lay eggs. Food, especially for protein. So for the difference, the male fly, the eyes are separate from each other, while for the female, it's close to each other. Almost they are side to side. So the left part or left photo is the male, and the right photo is the female. So what can the flies the damage that it can cause? So flies can carry bacteria and other microbes that can contaminate food, utensils, and surfaces. So they can also cause typhoid fever, cholera, diarrhea, TB, and parasitic worms. So what we can recommend to our clients is, of course, once we found the breeding sites, we recommend to have it covered, have it regularly cleaned, and if possible, to recommend also install and maintain screens. And lastly, we could reduce or eliminate the odor that attracts them. So if there are food waste or animal feces within the area, we can recommend to have it cleaned. Going forward, next are rodents or daga in Tagalog. It is the most damaging vertebrate pest. So vertebrate, it means that it is an animal which has a backbone. So rodents have backbone also, and they gnaw or ngat-ngat to sharpen and grind teeth to keep them from growing. So kaya nagngangat-ngat yung mga daga dahil continuous humahaba yung ngipin, and for them to have it trimmed, kailangan nila magngat-ngat. Hindi ibig sabihin nagngat-ngat sila ng kahoy, papel, bakal, ay kumakain na sila ng bakal. Ginagawa lang nila yon para i-trim yung ngipin nila. Next, rodents can damage buildings, contaminate food, and transmit diseases to people. So they are also capable of learning by trial and error. And rodents are the largest group of mammals. So mammals, when we say mammals, they are animals which has mammary gland. There are 3 common species of rodents. First is the Norway rat or Ratus norvegicus. Second is the roof rat or Ratus ratus. So we have to be familiar with their scientific names because not only it would register in your exam, but some clients prefer answering them with scientific names, not just to impress them, but to show them that you have knowledge within your job description or within your job. So house mouse, it's Mus musculus, scientific name, and we will differentiate each and every species. So first is Ratus norvegicus. So the Norway rat, the difference compared to roof rat is that Norway rat has a longer body and head combined compared with its tail. So mas mahaba yung nguso, ulo, at katawan kumpara sa buntot. Mas thick din yung body, maliit lang din yung ears, and yung nose niya blunt, so medyo pango. For the roof rat, the tail or the buntot is longer than the head and its body combined. So medyo mas payat siya, mas malaki yung tenga at saka mata, and the nose is also pointed. So usually it's also color black. So for the house mouse, usually it's the small one which has a small feet and small head. And also we can identify rodents based from their droppings or sa mga dumi nila. First is for the Norway rat, it has an average length of 3/4 inch. So malaki siya. Usually curved din yung dulo niya compared with roof rat na pointed yung dulo ng mga droppings and mas maikli siya. So for the house mouse, usually we call them bubwit. Maliliit lang, average length of 1/4 inch yung mga dumi nila or droppings. So what are the signs that we have rodent infestation? So first is we are seeing rodent runway and burrow. So may mga hukay, may mga dinaanan ng daga, makikita natin. Another is may rodent nests. So sometimes we encounter some areas that there are newly hatched rodents. So we can say that it's their nest. They are we can observe scampering noises, unusual pet behavior. So there are also droppings and urine odors. So sometimes pagpasok natin sa kwarto or sa stockroom. We can smell yung daga, smell ng ihi ng daga. So that's an indication that there is a rodent present. We can also see node holes or mga nginat-ngat na butas and rub and no marks. So usually pag dinadaanan din ng daga, there's a color black markings because yung tails nila, it passes through that certain part. So you can see na color black siya. So the damages also of rodents are allergens, plague, rabies, rat bite fever, of course, the leptospirosis, and rickettsial diseases. So what do we recommend to our clients? First is they remove their trash, trim their trees or bushes or grass and weeds. And if there are stock firewood, they have to remove it. Next is exclusion. So we have to cover open holes, drainages, and openings with wire mesh. So yung screen, gaano kaliit ba yung butas? So 1/4 inch if mice, 1/2 inch if rodents yung kalaban. So ganun yung size ng screen or wire mesh. And also, if hindi applicable yung wire mesh, we can use any material applicable just to close the gap. Next is mosquito. So lamok. It is tagged as the deadliest animal on earth. It flies at a speed of 1.5 miles per hour. And it can smell human breath, or it is attracted to what we call carbon dioxide. They also use heat sensors to detect body warmth, and it feeds all day long. So why is it the deadliest animal on earth? Because based from WHO, for that area, for that year, a human has killed another human 580,000 times. But for mosquitoes, they have killed 830,000 humans in that year alone. So what are the 3 common species of mosquitoes? So first we have Aedes aegypti. It is the one carrying dengue, yellow fever, chikungunya, and Zika virus. So next is the Anopheles. They are the ones carrying what we call malaria or malaria. And third is the Culex, or the one carrying filariasis, or the one causing filariasis. So sometimes we call that elephantiasis because once you're bitten by the Culex mosquito and you have that virus, what it results to that part of your body that resembles to an elephant already. So another question is, can mosquitoes transmit COVID-19? The answer is they cannot, and they do not, since the virus itself has not developed a protein coat and can be quickly broken down by gut enzymes. So another is COVID-19 is airborne and can be transmitted if we came in contact with contaminated surfaces. So how do we control pests? First, we need to differentiate pest control versus pest management. So why is Pest Pro a pest management? Why is it not Pest Pro PH pest control? So which is better? Pest control combines the use of technology such as pesticides, chemicals, and equipment with biological knowledge, informing where, when, and how to apply the technology. But with pest management, it aims to reduce pest impact and injury levels to a tolerable level through multiple tactics. So, with pest control, we can say that they are only using a single strategy to solve the issue. With pest management, we are utilizing various strategies or many strategies to suppress the population of the pest below the impact level. So, pest management is better. So what is integrated pest management? IPM, it is the program that we implement in every client of ours. So to make it short, um, we provide long-term solutions in a way that chemical treatment is our last option. So it's not just limited to just monitoring pest populations, consumer education. There's a lot included in IPM. So just we are not just doing a simple pest control with our clients. We are implementing the IPM program. So what are the components of IPM? There are 6. So first is inspection. So once you inspected it, you can already identify or identification. So once you identified the potential pest problem, you have to monitor the pest number. Then once you monitored it, we have to evaluate their potential damage. And then we have to evaluate also what are the appropriate control methods. Next, once we've catered that, we need to do some record keeping. Then after it, we have to evaluate again. And then it will be a cycle going back to inspection again. So for the inspection, it includes determining potential locations of pest entry, the sources of food, looking for pest signs and markings, and checking of housekeeping practices. So with the use of flashlight and our screwdriver. So these two are our main tools in performing this um, scope, which is inspection. Next is identification. So knowing our enemy is very important. So we need to be familiar kung ano yung kalaban natin. So once we do inspection, we can see already. For example, the client reported some termites. So we already conducted some inspection. So next, we can already identify what are the species present of termite. And then from there, we can already provide the treatment needed to eliminate the colony. So we can also identify the findings that causes some pest population to increase. So we can also recommend it to clients for further action. Next is monitoring. So once we have already submitted some recommendations, and then monitoring is the continuous ongoing estimation of relative pest population. So we have to monitor if there is an improvement with what we are doing. So for example, with this form, so this is what we call pest monitoring form. We usually employ this for clients that has a rat bait station, mechanical cage, and sticky trap deployed. So for the rat bait station, we have to locate where is it located, or where is it deployed, and then once you've opened it and checked it, you have to indicate the percent remaining. So if it's totally consumed, you have to indicate that 0% is remaining. So if it's left untouched or nothing consumed it, you indicate that 100% is remaining. So from there, we can see that, for example, RBS number 10 to 12, 0% uh, is the remaining. So it is safe to say that the rodent activity is nearby those rat bait stations. So we can focus our efforts in that area. Same goes with mechanical cage. If we are continuously having some uh, pest catch in some mechanical cages, so we can safe to say that it is where the origin of the rodent infestation. Next, for sticky trap, so we have several uh, insects or animals that can be trapped there. So there's a legend on top. So that's just a input the number. For example, R for rodent, and it's trapped in trap number 1. So if there's only one rodent trap, so just put 1 on the box, and if it's replaced or not. But if there's a trap rodent, better to 100% replace it because it will stink if it's not replaced and thrown. And then on the bottom part, if there are some issues that you encounter during your visit, just indicate it in the remarks area, and then you put your name and signature in the blank above the or below the monitored by. And for the noted by, usually it's your supervisors who signs it. So for record keeping, knowing where, when, and what pests have been seen on site can help focus pest control efforts and can be helpful to professional PCOs like us. So usually with the record keeping, we provide logbooks to clients, or we have a group chat that they inform us if there are sightings in their facility, and then we take note of it for future references. And it will also serve as guide. For example, one client is actively accomplishes our logbook. When we visit or we conduct our next visit, we can have it checked and we know where we can focus already. So there are different key strategies in order to control pests. To for us to easy for us to have an easier remembrance of what to do, just remember ERD: exclusion, restriction, destruction. So what is exclusion? We can recommend for clients to have a door control. So usually when we say door control, it's more on we recommend to have an automatic shutting of door. So when someone is not passing there, it's continuously closed. Window screening. So for, let's say, hospitals that they want to have a well ventilated area, so they just open their windows. So we recommend to have it screened, so flying insects cannot go inside. So basically, exclusion is we have to make, or we have to uh, leave the pests outside. So sa labas lang sila dapat. So we will find a way to keep them out. Restriction. So once they are inside, we have to restrict them to multiply. So for example, maintaining high internal standards of hygiene. So linis talaga. Regular disposal of wastes. Proper storing of materials. Yung stock rotation din. So first in, first out method. And we have to also seal or recommend to seal holes and gaps inside the facility. So lastly is destruction. So this is where we are mostly coming from. We are the ones installing traps, rodenticide baits, insecticide baits and sprays. We also employ heat treatment to kill insects, and also we deploy electronic fly control units or yung insect light traps. So for the exclusion, these are the screens, so they would not go inside. Automatic doors, and if there are cracks on the wall, we recommend to have it replaced or repaired. For open drainages, we recommend to have it covered with fine wire mesh. So to avoid having this effect, you also can recommend for packages to be checked before they carry it inside the facility. And if they are storing food, better to put it in glass or plastic containers with airtight jars or covers. So for the restriction, habitat modification, eliminate food, water, and shelter for pests. They also must clean and do some sanitation practices. Internal waste control, so clutters should be avoided. Identified eating area, so if there's a pantry, just designate eating inside the pantry, not in their own cubicles. And for structural management, we have to eliminate gaps on doors and windows, seal cracks on tiles and wall, and repair damaged screens. So before, for example, here for restriction, before the clutters, there's no one can enter until the end of the wall. So, but on the right photo, when it's already arranged, we can see that we can already pass through until the end of the wall. So things to avoid also, uh, we have to recommend that if, for example, we saw that the floors are greasy, recommend them to sweep the floors. If there are unnecessary objects like this carton, because sometimes they are putting this as a form of to avoid them to make the floors slippery, but it serves as a breeding ground for cockroaches. Next is improper stocking. So also improperly storing food inside offices, eating inside rooms, and storage clutters. So we have to recommend to restrict it. Also, garbage bins must be closed, and if it's inside a plastic, you have to make a knot or tie it. So what to do if you are in a kitchen? So thoroughly wipe it, and also in your office, make sure to wipe your working area. So for the destruction, of course, you have to hire pest management professionals like us. For chemical treatments, we can break it down to first spraying. So it's the use of pressurized handheld sprayers to control crawling insects. So we will have a separate training on how to use and troubleshoot equipments like this. Next is misting. So it is used to control flying insects with the use of misting machine, which produces fine particle spray that pesticide to remain in the air. Next is rodent control. It is the use of second generation anticoagulant rodenticides to avoid bait shyness, because rodents are very intelligent. So once they feel that they are unwell after eating your poison, so they can inform other members of the colony that the bait that they eaten, um, they felt unwell with that, so don't eat it. But with second generation anticoagulants, um, its effect is between 3 to 8 days. So rodents wouldn't know that the feeling of uh, being sick does not come from our baits. So continuously, they will just feed on these rodenticides. For the non-chemical treatments, we employ rat glue. So we will also teach you how to apply rat glues. Mechanical cages, of course, we deploy that. We also use vacuums for cockroaches, bed bugs, drywood termites, and heat gun. There's a lot of usage of heat gun. We can use it for bed bugs. We can use it for cockroaches, and many more. As a reminder, before we end part one, the IPM program is a joint effort of the whole community or the whole uh, client, not only to be practiced and done by us, the pest management professionals, but also by all of them. So in order for us to effectively manage pests and to avoid surpassing thresholds, communication and cooperation are necessary. So if there are pests inside the facility, it's not uh, only handled by us, Pest Pro, but it must be um, a collective effort of everybody inside the facility, the engineering, stewarding, or housekeeping, or anyone for residentials also the unit owners. So it's not there are still pests here. You're not effective, but they we observe that the clients have not yet taken any action for to our recommendation. So it's not, the blame is not always on us, but make sure that you do your job in providing recommendations, taking photos of findings so we can recommend it to clients to further for further action. So this ends our part one. So we will resume in a couple of minutes for the termites discussion part. So thank you very much and study hard. We will send you the examination. So part of your evaluation, there's a percentage on it that is attributed with your exam grades. So just study well and you can replay this training so you can memorize and or be familiarized with our terms and our teachings. So thank you very much.